Number 10, Krakoan Grimoires. Imagine finding a library where the books don't just sit on the shelf, they actively try to rearrange your DNA or delete your soul from the cosmic hard drive. In the Marvel Universe, we kick things off with the Krakoan Grimoires, which basically serve as the DIY manual for mutant world domination. These aren't your dusty old school spellbooks full of Eye of Newt recipes. They are high-tech tactical guides for a new age of sorcery. Apocalypse, the guy who usually spends his time being a giant blue nuisance, decides to get creative and penned these alongside his fan club, the Externals. They emerged during the Krakoan era when mutants decided they were done playing nice with human laws. Instead of begging some grumpy extra-dimensional god for a spark of power, these books show mutants how to pool their X genes together like a biological battery. It's all about circuit-based magic. One mutant grabs the energy, another shapes it, and a third lets it rip. It is essentially the magic equivalent of a three-man heist team, but instead of a bank vault, they're cracking open the fabric of reality. The Grimoires teach them how to build external gates, which are permanent doorways that bypass all the usual magic security systems. These gates link Earth 616 directly to the chaotic mess of Otherworld. During their peak, Apocalypse used this knowledge to literally harvest the magical skin of the Otherworld and sever Captain Britain from her entire multiversal support network. It is a terrifyingly practical toolkit that lets a small group of mutants thumb their noses at the omniversal guardian, Saturn. The only reason this set of books sits at the bottom of this list is because it has a very specific must-have X gene to operate sticker on the cover. If you're a regular human, these books are just very expensive paperweights, whereas the higher up stuff on this list will melt your face regardless of your bloodline. Number 9, Butch Chub. The Butch Chub is essentially the universe's way of saying that curiosity killed the cat and then erased its social security number. Coming out of Jonathan Hickman's God series, this thing is the ultimate do not touch sign in the Cold War between science and magic. Most books are meant to be read, but the Butch Chub is more interested in reading you. It functions as a predatory information hazard, which is a fancy way of saying it is a cognitive bear trap. The moment you crack the spine and start scanning the first sentence, the trap is sprung. There's no saving throw or cool superhero monologue that stops it. The text starts unspooling directly into your brain, and before you can even realize you've made a mistake, your entire personality is being overwritten. It is a displacement trap that sucks your consciousness into its pages and replaces your mind with whatever nonsense it wants. You don't just go crazy, you literally stop existing as a person. The Butch Chub leaves behind a hollow shell that might look like you, but the you part is currently trapped in a literary prison with no hope of parole. It's the perfect weapon because it neutralizes threats without a single punch being thrown. A sorcerer supreme could spend centuries learning how to shield their mind, but the Butch Chub operates on a level of existential displacement that ignores traditional magical defenses. This ranks higher than the Krakoan Grimoires because it doesn't care about your genetics or your mutant status. Opening this book is the literary equivalent of clicking on a suspicious link that proceeds to download your entire soul into a trash folder, which is why some stories really are better off left on the unread pile. Number 8, Ironbound Books of Shuma Gorath. Deep in the damp, dark corners of Marvel lore lie the Ironbound Books of Shuma Gorath, which I would simply put as the terms and conditions of the end of the world. These tomes belong to an ancient, many-angled nightmare that ruled Earth back when humans were still trying to figure out how fire worked. Because the magic inside is so volatile and corrosive, the books are bound in cold iron just to keep the pages from vibrating out of existence. While the Butch Chub is a personal disaster for one reader, these books are a communal disaster for every living thing in the dimension. They contain the specific, gross rituals needed to poke holes in the protective barriers of the Vishanti. When a desperate or dumb sorcerer starts chanting from these pages, they aren't just doing a spell. They are inviting a multiversal parasite to come over for dinner, and the universe is the main course. The magic here is raw chaos, pulled straight from the Cancerverse, where death is an extinct concept and everything is just one giant growing tumor. Reading these books allows you to chat with entities that find our laws of physics adorable and our morality hilarious. Doctor Strange genuinely loses sleep over these because he knows they don't just summon a villain, they summon a reality-ending stomachache. They take the spot above the Butch Chub because a mind trap is a localized problem, but a door to the Shuma Gorath dimension is a everyone gets turned into a tentacle problem. In short, it is the kind of reading material that makes you wish you had never learned your ABCs in the first place. Number 7, Necronomicon. The Necronomicon is the one book on this list that probably has its own social media following because it is just that much of a sarcastic jerk. Known as the Rosetta Stone of the Undead, this lovely piece of literature is bound in human skin and written in blood, which really tells you everything you need to know about its target audience. It pops up in both Marvel and DC, but its most annoying version appeared in the Marvel Zombies crossover. Unlike most inanimate objects, this book is sentient, mean-spirited, and finds your impending doom extremely funny. It is the universal battery for the Army of Darkness, and it focuses entirely on corrupting biological life into deadites. In the Marvel Zombieverse, it wasn't just a side character. It was the catalyst that could have potentially stopped the hunger or made it infinitely worse. It contained spells that could turn the world's most powerful heroes into slobbering, flesh-eating monsters. What makes it even worse is that it doesn't always need a reader. If you are a weak-willed or just standing too close to it, the book might just start chanting on its own just to see what happens. In the comics, it has stripped away superpowers and warped reality into a slapstick nightmare where the laws of physics are replaced by the laws of horror movies. It outranks the Ironbound Books because it isn't just a passive doorway for a monster, it is an active contagion. It turns the entire population into monsters while laughing at the irony of it all. It has a personality, a goal, and a really twisted sense of humor that makes it way more dangerous than a standard spell book. I'm calling this book the Toxic X of the magical world, except it wants your soul instead of your hoodies. Number 6, Crime Bible. If you ever wondered what happened to the rock Cain used to whack Abel, it is currently serving as the front cover for the Crime Bible. This isn't a book of spells so much as it is a blueprint for being the absolute worst person possible. It is the sacred text of the religion of crime, a group in the DC universe that thinks morality is for losers. The book is divided into the lessons of blood, which cover the big four: deceit, lust, greed, and murder. It is a direct metaphysical link to the very first sin, making it a powerful artifact of pure corruption. What makes this thing truly dangerous is how it organizes the chaos. While other books might summon a demon or a zombie, the Crime Bible creates an army of highly motivated, intelligent zealots who believe that committing crimes is a holy calling. During the final crisis, it was the glue that held the secret society of supervillains together. It provides a religious justification for evil, which is way harder to fight than a guy in a spandex suit with a freeze ray. This book was the reason Batwoman suffered and almost died because she was used as a sacrifice for one of its crazy rituals. But I think the greatest danger here is the societal destabilization, because it turns disorganized thugs into a coordinated terrorist network that wants to burn down the moral fabric of reality. I'm having this one above the Necronomicon because zombies are predictable and want to eat brains. But a Crime Bible devotee is a smart, fanatical human who wants to dismantle your entire civilization. It proves that a bad idea can be much more lethal than a sharp tooth if you wrap it in a religious aesthetic. It is essentially the How to Win Friends and Influence People guide if your friends are all serial killers. Number 5, Book of the Black. The Book of the Black is what happens when the concept of the emo phase gets upgraded to a universal extinction event. This massive tome is the central heart of the Black Lantern Corps and is physically chained to the embodiment of death, Necron. It looks like it was carved out of the empty void of space, and it contains all the secrets of the Guardians of the Universe we're too scared to put into the official history books. Specifically, it holds the prophecy of the Blackest Night, which I'll put simply as a giant game over screen for all life. This book is an absolute nightmare because it weaponizes the emotional spectrum. It treats the light of life like it's a parasite that needs to be evicted from the peace and quiet of the dark. During the Blackest Night event, it didn't just sit on the pedestal. It actively trapped the leaders of the various Lantern Corps inside its pages, forcing them to relive their most traumatic memories. If that's not terrifying enough, it uses your own grief and shame as a fuel source to power an army of dead superheroes. When Black Hand used it, he wasn't just raising skeletons, he was bringing back Superman and Wonder Woman as unkillable, heart-ripping monsters. It nearly wiped out every living thing in the universe by targeting the white light of creation itself. This book sits above the crime Bible because while a cult of criminals is bad for a city, a universal death cult that uses your dead grandma as a foot soldier is bad for existence. It operates on a cosmic scale that makes human murder look like a minor clerical error. In short, it is basically a very long, very depressing poem that can actually kill you. Number 4, Word of God. Coming in at number 4 is The Word of God, which I think is a title that really doesn't undersell the sheer magnitude of the problem. This isn't actually a book in the magical sense. It's a piece of leftover hardware from a being known as the Author who lives outside of our reality. Think of it like a cosmic remote control that fell behind the sofa of the universe. It contains the language of creation, which is the source code for everything that exists. If you speak a single word from this book, you aren't just casting a spell, you are giving a direct command to the universe to rewrite its own rules. But there's a catch. It is that human souls are like old dial-up modems trying to process fiber optic speeds. So the moment you try to read it, your existence tends to catch fire. A villain called the Forgotten used it to literally edit his own history, turning himself into a god by simply deleting the parts of his life he didn't like. It's a great tool that allows for the editing of timelines and the laws of physics without asking for permission. During its appearance in Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme, it started to unmake the very dimension it was in just by being open. It is a tool of metafictional destruction that could turn a high-stakes superhero battle into a blank page in seconds. It outranks the Book of the Black because death is still part of the story, but the Word of God can erase the story entirely. Because we've now come to the big leagues of books where reality is literally a stake. It doesn't just kill you, it makes it so you were never even a character to begin with. Using this book is like trying to rewrite a novel while you're currently standing on the ink of the page, which makes me conclude that being a self-published author in the Marvel Universe has some pretty intense side effects. Number 3, Book of Vishanti. The Book of Vishanti is the ultimate good guy artifact, but don't let the white magic label fool you into thinking it is harmless. Created by the heavy hitters Agamotto, Ashthur, and Hoggoth, this is the infinite repository of every defensive spell and a bit of order magic in existence. It is the primary tool of the Sorcerer Supreme, and it literally writes itself to keep up with whatever new disaster is trying to eat the world. Its pages are infinite, which I assume is a wizard's dream and a librarian's nightmare. The power here is absolute and terrifyingly efficient. For instance, it contains the Montesi formula, a spell that once deleted the entire concept of vampirism from the earth. It didn't just kill Dracula, it rewrote the magical laws of the planet so that being a vampire was no longer a thing that could happen. Not only that, it could banish demons, reverse time, and nullify the magic of elder gods with a flick of a page. So why is it so dangerous? Because in the wrong hands, or even the right ones used too strictly, it becomes a tool of cosmic sterilization. If you use it to enforce perfect order, you end up with a universe that has no free will, no chaos, no life, just a frozen static perfection. It is the nuclear deterrent of the magical world. Wars are fought across multiple dimensions just for a chance to peek at the table of contents. I'm having this over the Word of God because while the Word is a chaotic tool of editing, the Book of Vishanti is a stabilized apex of magical law. It can completely shut down the magic of almost any other entity on this list. It is the no in a world of yes, and having that much power over reality is a responsibility that would crush most people. Number 2, Darkhold. If the Book of Vishanti is the universe's immune system, the Darkhold is the aggressive sentient cancer trying to shut it down. The thing is called the Book of the Damned, and it is made out of the actual flesh of the elder god Chthon. It doesn't hide its power or play hard to get. It offers a shortcut to godhood to anyone who touches it, instantly corrupting their soul in the process. Every werewolf, vampire, and creepy crawly in Marvel lore can usually trace their family tree back to a spell in these pages. What's annoying about this book is that it is indestructible. You can throw it in a sun or shred it, and the pages just reform like it has healing factor. Also, it contains the anti-truth of the universe, and reading it drives even the most disciplined minds into a spiral of madness. We saw this when characters like Iron Man and Black Bolt were turned into twisted, horrific versions of themselves just by glancing at the text. Its biggest feat is being a literal doorway to Chthon himself to crawl back into our reality and turn the Earth into a hellscape. Scarlet Witch had to go as far as absorbing the entire book into her own soul just to keep it from ruining everyone's weekend. And even that was a die and come back kind of situation. It ranks second because it is an active, malignant force that wants to consume everything. Unlike the Book of Vishanti, which requires study and a noble heart, the Darkhold just needs a moment of weakness to ruin a multiverse. It is the exact reason why evil magic is so much more common, and it is simply easier to use and much more eager to help you fail. Though there's another book that can bully the Darkhold like a junior at work. Number 1, Book of Destiny. The top spot belongs to no other than the Book of Destiny because at the end of the day, there is nothing scarier than a story that's already been finished. This massive tome is literally chained to the wrist of Destiny, the oldest member of the Endless who has been around since the first Adam decided to exist. If you're interested, you can check out this video to learn more about the Endless family. This isn't a book of magic or a collection of spells. It is the literal script of the entire DC multiverse. Past, present, future. It is all in there and it is all written in stone. To look into this book is to see the absolute certainty of everything that will ever happen. It doesn't matter if you're Superman, the Spectre, or even Barack Obama. If the book says you're having a bad Tuesday, you are having a bad Tuesday. It represents the ultimate end of free will, which is exactly why it's dangerous. The book will attack you, but it will show you that everything that you will do was already predicted a billion years ago. It traps you in a loop of fatalism that could drive even a god to a catatonic state. It is the source code of reality itself. If someone could actually control this book, they wouldn't just be a sorcerer, they would be the narrator of existence. While the Darkhold can destroy the world, the Book of Destiny decides if that world was ever allowed to be written into the story in the first place, which is why it takes the undisputed number 1 spot on this list. It's basically the authority that makes all the other books on this list look like rough drafts, because when the ending is already written, there isn't much point in trying to flip to the back of the book. If you were to lay a hand on this book, what's the first thing that you would do? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. Cheers, and see you in the next one.